and welcome back, Transformer TCG fans. I don't have a lot of time. I want to go over maybe a handful of cards here. I just can't take a break. Okay, so getting back into base cards again. And if I get going a little fast, it's for time's sake, okay? So now we went over and we started at the top of my list. I missed 1984, which should have been first. It is number 1 out of 35. I'm trying to keep about 35 cards each for each file. The fifth file does not have 30 cards in it, but it keeps getting spilled over and spilled over and spilled over. And I've added some ships because I want ships as part of base cards. So other people have made like a zone card that might be a little similar, but I feel like I'm from Alabama. Okay, I use the KISS method. I'm 50 years old, so I'm just, if it's on here, it's on here. It says it's doing what it says. Okay, and I think we failed to go over Arcade. Arcade is also in the list of the A's between 1984, Abandoned Base Airport, Hangar, Allspark Fortress, Ambassador Shuttle, Antechamber of Vector Sigma. That's hard to say. Arcade, Argon Sea, Asteroid Belts, and all that. So the Arcade, I think I missed. It is a black green pip card. Anybody can get this on the flip. It's a picture of the episode from G1 from Carly's first appearance. Bumblebee was playing an arcade game of all things, so he's in there. So even if, let's say, you or your opponent is playing all Bumblebees, and they all do happen to be melee characters, so they're going to get the stealth off of this. So each melee character has stealth when untapped. Agility of Bumblebee cannot be played by either player for turn. And most of the time, I don't have the for turn in there because while this card is in the battlefield, Agility of Bumblebee cannot be played by either player. When? While this is in the battlefield. When do you play normally play an upgrade? Mostly on your turn. So just some common sense here. I'm not a card creator. I guess I've sort of become one, and inherently, inadvertently, so to speak, just for my love for the game and to try to keep it going, etc. Whole new type of card here. Okay, so that's Arcade, and just like Ambassador Shuttle is going to prevent crowbars from being played, we have a Pierce pipped base card that's going to prevent Agility of Bumblebee from being played. Yeah, there's some other cards that are going to be able to do the exact same thing because Agility Bumblebee is an Autobot upgrade. Okay, so there's other cards that are going to be less specific that you're also not going to be able to play Agility and Bumblebee. But it's nice to be able to get stealth for your melee characters when they're untapped. So that's the main draw for this card. If they happen to have a Bumblebee and they happen to have Agility of Bumblebee, that's just a plus. They got melee characters, they're going to be stealth when untapped too. So let's get into these ships. I really want to go over these ships. Let's see here. Let's start with some of the G1 stuff. Those are the ones that I really started first. Autobot Base The Ark. It's the ship, but it's in the volcano. It's how we know that we grew up with this in '84 as a 10-year-old, 14-year-old, 12-year-old, whatever, however old you were. That's what we know it as. The opposing card of this is Decepticon HQ. So the Autobot Base The Ark, it's only a green pip. Only Autobots are be able to get it on the flip. Each Autobot has bold 2 until end of battle. Decepticon battle cards cannot be played by either player. I'm hearing stuff all day today. And yes, battle cards. So that includes upgrades, actions, and base cards, because they're all battle cards. So no, a Decepticon a base card cannot knock this out and replace it. Other cards can. Mercenary base cards can. Non-faction base cards can. Quintesson base cards can. Maximal Predacon base cards can. Okay? I have an action card and a secret action card that are coming out are going to be able to knock out base cards, especially if as well, especially if you don't want to play, you don't want to do these things, you don't want to spend a star card for a stratagem to have 3 or 6 in your deck. Okay, you'll be like, God, wait, I don't know. You know, I'll take these other cards in case someone else is playing with these. I'm going to knock them off the table. You know, it's going to take up 2 or 3 cards, but I don't want to deal with base cards. It's fine. There's a way to get around it. Okay. So the Autobot Base The Ark is going to give Autobots Bold 2, and the Decepticon battle cards cannot be played. When? While this is on the battlefield. While this is on the battlefield. Which means, like I said, base cards, actions, upgrades. I don't know of any action cards that are really faction related. Diagnosis, I think, is. But there's a few, but not many. So now we looked at Autobot Base The Ark. Let's look at Autobot Home Base. Not a ship. Transformers Prime. Black and green, where the Ark was just green. Black and green, where green Autobots can only get it on the flip. Each Autobot has stealth while in bot mode. And that's it. And then, I mean, that is it. This is one of the simplest Autobot home bases I've made. So while Autobot Base The Ark may give your Autobots Bold 2, Autobot Home Base is going to give them stealth while in bot mode, which means untapped and tapped. Because if it doesn't say stealth while untapped, it means both ways, guys. Okay? So it's still kind of a strong base card. But it's simple and it's simplified. And because there's not much here, I went ahead and put the reminder text that a green plus Autobot is a green except has blah, blah, blah from Wave 5, you know? Paralyzo box and all that. So let's move on and get into the Decepticon side of things. Decepticon HQ is just the opposite of Autobot Base The Ark. I need to do that. This is going to be a no scraplet card, base card, because it is underwater, even though I also have another underwater Decepticon card. So Decepticon HQ, Decepticons are going to get Bold 2 until end of battle. Autobot battle cards cannot be played by either player. So while Autobot Base The Ark cannot be knocked out by Decepticon HQ, Decepticon HQ cannot be knocked out by Autobot Base The Ark. Okay? And it's going to have to, you can either draw it from the deck, or you can get it on the flip, but it has to be with those traded characters. And, oh, fine. I get to do this yet again. And now scraplets can't be played by either player with Decepticon HQ because it's underwater. Decepticon Ship. This is what I'm really wanting to get to, are ships. Sorry. Black and green pip. Kind of like Autobot Home Base, except there's a lot more going on here. It's not quite as simple as Autobot Home Base from TF Prime. Decepticon Ship is an image from Transformers Animated. Black and green. Green for the Decepticons can always get this on the flip. Each Decepticon has Bold 1 until end of turn. Kind of low, but that's kind of the average for most of these base cards. Each Autobot has -2 tough for battle. Character's tough cannot be less than 0. And it's not going to prevent any cards from being played by either team. So again, kind of simple. Going to give Decepticons Bold 1, Autobots -2 tough. Well, I've already mentioned it, so let's go ahead and look at the Decepticon underwater base. I do not have... I do have Autobot Base Detroit, which I didn't go over. You know, that would fall in line with this one here. So let's make Autobot Base Detroit. Oh, don't crash on me again. I'm going to make it orange and green, just like the Decepticon ship. It's not responding. Okay, here we go. Yay, yay. Okay, so Decepticon Underwater Base is not too dissimilar from Autobot Base Detroit, which is, again, a picture from Transformer Animated. Autobot Base Detroit. Let's go back to the Autobots again. Each Autobot has stealth while untapped. Decepticon Underwater Base. Each Decepticon has Bold One and stealth when untapped. We look at Autobot Base Detroit. Each Titan Master has Tough One, and we got Titan Masters of all kind of factions, Mercenary, Autobot, and Decepticon. So all of them are going to get Tough One if they happen to get the heads come off. Decepticon Underwater Base. Each Autobot cannot flip to alt mode. Wow, the Decepticon card is a little busier compared to this Autobot one. They're both green-orange. There are no traits on the green. So if you are playing with bot and bodies, if you are playing with the Headmaster characters from Wave 5, you would probably want the Autobot Base Detroit. For sure, to give a Titan Master Tough One if they happen to, come off, and you can get this in play and get it all synced up. And Scraplets can't be played on the Decepticon Underwater Base. I just am giving myself so much tedious work here. I said that wrong. There we go. And now let's look at one more. Okay, I went over a lot of bases. We just hit about 6 cards in 12 minutes. Actually, about 8. So let's look at Galvatron's ship. And I'm going to have to call it a day, guys. Galvatron's ship is a black and green. Only Decepticons can get it on the flip. Each Decepticon has Pierce 1 until into battle. Each Autobot has -2 bold for battle. Mercenary upgrades cannot be played by either player. You will see later on, I have a few other ships that are not Autobot or Decepticon, unless maybe I need to go back and maybe add some, that actually help add attack or defense. But not very often. I try not to do that too much. Because that might warrant like a stratagem kind of thing, or maybe even a star. But the ones I've done that don't have a star. So Galvatron's ship is not only going to give your Decepticons just Pierce 1, it's still Pierce. It all adds up. The Autobots are going to have, you can knock down their bold by 2, and you're not going to be able to play those mercenary upgrades. So even if you're going to be thinking like, well, wait a minute, I got this mercenary combo and these battle masters, and we have a really cool trick with some ATP and art cards. You may not be able to do that if this base card is in play. No. No. Opportune? No. Not gonna be my opportunistic cards? No. Not at all. Not gonna happen. Because Galvatron's ship is in play. And it's affecting the whole table. So yeah, if you have some Autobot with a Battle Master that gives +3 or +4 bold 4, and you got a supercharge to get bold 3, plus maybe bold 1 off the character itself, or brass knuckles on the as a utility on the same character. Galvatron ship is on here. All that nice fancy fat bold 9 or whatever crazy is now going to be bold 7 or bold 5. You're going to have to knock off -2 bold off all that bold. Sorry. So that's or even Power Masters, etc., etc. Of course, Power Masters helps you flip. It's not bold or tough. I did that on purpose. So while I did that on purpose, so it's based on the colors you flip, instead of just simple bold 2, tough 1, tough 3, bold 3. All right? There's a reason why I'm doing some of what I'm doing, that I hope this all makes sense. And I think it meshes fairly well, because some stuff, we have so much stuff now, there's so much homemade, we can't keep up with it all. Play with each other over the phone, over the computer, over webcams, see what happens. Do I have any of this stuff in golly, I forgot, I haven't played around with those apps or whatever in so long, I forgot the names of them. I've got one on my computer, and I haven't played it in forever. I was playing with Beaner on it for a while, and I was paying what, the $2 or whatever, to be able to add my own cards in there. So there are a few of my cards in there, and then I couldn't pay for it anymore, and so my cards are gone, except for what's actually still there. I can't add anymore, but what's there is still there. But then they can't see it. So there's that, and I forgot the name of that program. That is killing me. Oh, kill me, Willie! Where's the cat? So that's really all I have time for, is that we at least got to go over a good many cards in under 30 minutes for a change. Galvatron Ship, we looked at the Decepticon underwater base, Decepticon Ship, Decepticon HQ. Well, there is the Decepticon launch pad. Let's look at that real quick. It's a white and green, where each bot mode has the plane trait for battle. Told ya. You're having to fly around this. Imagine, playing with your characters or whatever. Well, they can't. Your Autobots can't just go plopping in the water. It's going to be like episode 1 or 2 all over again, where they're actually flying in bot mode. So now all your characters in the bot mode trait in bot mode get the plane trait. So let's say you do have this with, and it's a star card though. I made this a star card, so you can't put this with aerial bots or any aerial bots. They're already planes. Combiner teams that already equal 25, unless you are doing something a little different and just playing a few certain characters for certain reasons. So you have Autobots, you have Decepticon Launchpad, you want to spend an extra star on this, which means it might be okay to have, if you're only doing 1 or 2 base cards. You want 3, you got to have the stratagem, the space bridge. So you got the stars are adding up now, aren't they? So each bot mode has the plane trait for battle. So you want to use those battle cards for planes while your characters are in bot mode with the Decepticon Launchpad, and you have 3 of these, or well, you can't have 3 because it has a star. Unless maybe you're thinking, oh, well, gee, let's, because of all this new stuff, and we're trying it out, let's extend the minimum star count to 30, or maybe 35, not 25, and let's see what happens. Remember Matt's Great War idea from Facebook from 2 years ago? He was going for 100 stars, or 50 stars, or 100 stars, something really big and crazy. So you can have all these characters and combiner teams and Titans and Guardians all in play at one huge time. Wow. That might take a while to play. So the Decepticon Launchpad bot mode, each bot mode has the plane trait for battle. Each Decepticon has bold 1 until end of turn, and the scraplet cards cannot trigger while this is in play. Well, that was what I originally... I need to change that wording back to what I've had before, where scraplet cards or scraplets can't be played by either player while this is in play or whatever. So I need to update that. So that's all I have time for. But we went through a lot. We checked out the arcade. We hit 3 of the Autobot base cards and about 3 or 4 of the Decepticon base cards. In 1 or 2 of those were ships, but I've got some real ships coming. Mercenary ship, the Axelon, the Dark Side, a Junkion ship, the Quintesson ship. More to come. We'll see you next time. As always, have a great day. As long as you're not at the Decepticon launch pad or the Decepticon HQ, throw some scraplets at that like button. We'll see you next time. And as always, Optimus Prime. Until next time, we're turning tail and saying bye.